Hi everyone, my name is Dmitry. I work at FishBrain as product marketing manager, and a bit of my background, I come from sociological research, and I worked in B2B companies for a while, and now I work for FishBrain as a product marketing manager. And sorry. Yeah, exactly. That's the slide I meant to show when I was saying who I am. All right, so, and what is FishBrain? FishBrain is an app that essentially tells you where you should catch fish, when you should catch fish, and which baits you should use, because you can't just catch a fish with your bare hands. And fishing industry is pretty big, and it might be a surprise for some people, but in the United States, which is our core market, there are over 60 million anglers, and that generates around 48 billion in retail sales every year. And at the same time, fishing is very diverse. So if you compare fishing in, say, Florida to fishing in Montana, and there's absolutely different approaches and lifestyles, and yeah, there is a lot of difference around it. And yeah, this is how app looks like. So that is, as you can see, there is a map, and those green pins are catch locations. And this other thing is depth map, which for some anglers help to identify exactly where fish should be targeted. We have 15 million registered users, and we run a subscription-based model. So we have a free version, and the free version is optimized for like social features, for logging catches. And we have paid version, which is essentially nicely packed intel that is based on 14 million catches. Some of those are tagged with gear, and all of them have location and weather data associated with them. So it comes in multiple outlets that helps to solve those three problems that anglers have. All right, so as a product marketer, I have certain focus around just a few things within like the product lifecycle, the growth lifecycle. And those focus is around activation, retention, and making our app nice looking and fun to share, so people actually like excited about it and share it with friends. And yeah, so in order to achieve that, we would need to make sure that people understand the product value, that they use the product and they convert into paid users. So there is sort of like a set of assumptions around being active means like higher probability of retaining longer in the app, and retaining longer in the app means that there's a greater chance of converting into a subscription. Why is that important? Because I think it was said in this audience a few times, cost per acquisition, cost per one acquired user is growing in most cases. It very rarely declines. And there are a bunch of external reasons that we are facing at the moment that impact subscription retention. So I worked with FishBrain for 2 years, and I've seen a few significant subscription drops that were absolutely 100% impacted by external factors such as recession, environmental problems, and things like that. So people can't catch fish, or people don't have money to pay for the subscription, so they cancel it. And we just need to make sure they stick around. Even if they cancel subscription, they still use the app, they still have some sort of value associated with their lifestyle. So if we a little bit zoom out to a bigger picture, this is the standard thing, and this is activation and retention. And we, of course, don't forget about revenue. And yeah, raise your hand if you know your percentage, your retention percentage for the last 6 months. Anyone knows how many? Yeah, okay, yeah, a few. Okay, that was maybe. Okay, so I know mine, I wouldn't tell, but this is what it looks like for like general population of businesses, software businesses. And we're at the top over here, meaning 25% retention is good for consumer apps. So, okay, so how will we get there? We make sure users understand the value, we make sure app does the job, and this normally happens with like product teams releasing features, people use it, and then cycle closes back again. So yeah, but it's not always looks like that. So this is a purely hypothetical example with quotes that I made up. It never happened to me in my life. But sometimes release just happens and you need to do something about it, or not to do something about it and explain why. But okay, so this is wrong, and you probably know how to do it right, and let's talk about how to actually do it why I think this is the right way to do it. My observation shows that there are different sort of focus spans within product teams and product marketing teams and project managers. So project managers cares about few sprints that are coming soon. This is where his focus belongs. Product managers normally see like a bigger scale where we want to get to, and product marketing can't function without a marketing strategy. So if we know like what is our overall mission and goal, then we can make sure that all the releases we support and all the like features and communications we produce make sense, and they align, they are coherent, and they form some sort of like experience. That's the best case scenario if you manage to actually create experience within your app. And there are a few things that I think are absolutely a must if you want to nail it. You need to be present in product life cycles, and I'm going to tell a bit more later how I was doing that. And you should absolutely document everything you do and brag about things you do. People tend to like downplay their achievements. Don't do it. It just doesn't make any sense. So this is how it looks at Fishbrain. So it's sort of like a sorry. Okay, this life cycle. The life cycle that starts with strategy sessions that covers like what we're gonna do in like next year, maybe a couple of years. And if we try to think about it, where marketing should be included in this process, okay, we may say every step. I would say those underlined items are a must. And if we say about like roadmap drafting, that comes with like understanding. Once we understand what features we're going to release, we're going to need to think about the sequence of messaging that we're going to put behind those releases. Once we are doing research, we need to plan and cooperate with teams what we're going to do about those research. And ideation sessions is a part of a product lifecycle where we actually think about what this feature is going to look like. It also requires marketing input, because if we're building something that has a social function in it, we absolutely want to make sure we know how we're going to talk about it and how we're going to market it. And at the same time, we probably want to channel some of our marketing requirements to product teams, namely like database updates, deep links, paywall requirements, like API integrations and so on. And you absolutely need to be mindful about what you're testing, because yeah, hypothesis should come first. Otherwise, you just end up with like some sort of statistical artifact, which could be useful for exploration purposes, but it's absolutely useless for like business decision making and product release communications. All right, so let me quickly make a case about releasing a marketing feature, a purely marketing feature that was designed to drive engagement, activation, and show what is the value of the app in just a few slides. So once again, Anglers pay for the data that we serve them. to get this data, we need user input. That equals more caches plus more users. So we pull this data together in a nice and appealing way, and we get something that we serve through external channels, so something that actually sells itself. I hate to say that something sells itself, but this was supposed to do that. And there are a couple of like product requirements that we also would need to address in order to get there. We would need to validate some technologies that we didn't have in the app before, and also focus on like the data on the jobs that our anglers need to accomplish. So what you're looking at is the project called Fishbrain Reeled, and anyone knows what Spotify Wrapped is? Have you already shared it on your Instagram? Good job. Yeah. So this is basically the same, but based on the catch data. So we were showing the best catch you get. We were predicting the good spot that angler can go to and catch even better fish, and a couple of other fun things. So this is like the top stuff. And why would we want that? We would want a specific set of like feedback that we would hear from a user. So we would want to have some fun for people, and we expect that. Okay, so if it's my absolute best catch, I want to share it. They share it. That we created the technology to share it in Instagram stories, and it's absolutely amazing and working. And if it's not the best catch, the person would think, okay, so why my best catch isn't there? Maybe because I didn't log it. All right, so this is another message that they sort of live with, and this is something we want to say to them, like, oh, log every catch because we need more data, and then you can benefit from that more data. And when we recommend the best fishing spot, like possible reactions would be, yeah, this is interesting, I've never been there. Or it can be like, okay, yeah, this is my secret spot, and I actually catch better fish there. So people get this perspective of, okay, we know something around it. And again, from a business perspective, it's rewarding the active group. We didn't release it for everyone. We released it only for anglers that we have data for and anglers that we can make a meaningful recommendation for. And we also, like within those imaginative messages that I outlined on the left-hand side, we are promoting the targeted behavior, and this should impact retention because more active users, better retention, and a bigger cohort to convert to subscription. And this is the numbers I can show. Around 1.6 million were included in this group who we actually delivered this feature to. And the engagement rate means how many people interacted with the content we showed, and the share rate means how many of those people actually shared it on social media afterwards. And another number that I didn't include here because it was sort of like hard to interpret is the increase in catches logged for this cohort. And there was an increase within a few percent, like noticeable increase. So we believe we conveyed the message around the data that we are selling behind the paywall. So if we summarize it in a few words, you can't do any good external communications if you don't have absolutely nailed internal communications. You should be a part of product teams, rituals, and life cycle. You should know what they're doing, and they, in return, should know what you are doing. And in order to present this in a streamlined way, you as a marketer should use, you absolutely should use customer journey maps. And those customer journey maps, there are a variety of those, depending on the target you have in front of you. You can outline different data behind it, and you can also identify things where you are not like closing the communication loop, things where you know from the data that users drop off, and you can make it a part of the research that you actually present to the product team, so they also see value in you, because you kind of need that motivation from product teams to be a part of your like cross-functional enterprise. So yeah, pick up a framework, use it, document everything you do, and yeah, that's probably it for me. Still have like have some time left. All right, so I'll stick around. If you have questions, please approach me. And yeah, let's keep in touch. That's me.